Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We have just enjoyed, I have enjoyed this time together with Kelly. She told us the story of Oakley, her little daughter, and you guys, I was deeply moved, and it has been a really unique story that she has been able to tell of her sweet, sweet daughter. So, Kelly, thank you again. I cannot thank you enough. It really has been such a wonderful time with you already.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we can get everybody some context. Tell me what happened to Oakley, and when was she born at the time of this recording?
Okay. So she was born 10 months and 1 day ago.
Mm-hmm.
She was our rainbow baby after 5 consecutive losses. And I ended up getting an infection and having an incompetent cervix. So she was born at 20 weeks. She was measuring about 21 weeks. And I went into labor due to chorioamnionitis. So she was born alive and she lived a couple hours.
Yeah. And you got to, and the other thing that you'll learn in Oakley's birth story is that she's got some siblings that just love
Yeah.
on her. And I just think that is so sweet that they got to meet
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And though that was so hard, I'm sure it was kind of fun to hear that they were able to see her and hold
Yeah.
her and be with her. So,
Yeah.
so Kelly, I know you've said that it's been 10 months,
Mhm.
and and in that time, as we hear from the other stories, that you, after kind of directly after you had her, you guys were really planning on selling your house, moving to a different state altogether,
Yeah.
and everything. And so, can you tell us a little bit of that about that timeline
Yeah.
and maybe how that affected your grief?
Yes. Yes. It definitely affected our grief. So grief it's like a gaping hole, like something was amputated from you and it can never be filled. And I think after she was born, we kind of jumped right into like trying to fill that by like keeping busy and probably not really acknowledging that we have like this gaping wound that needs to be addressed. So we'd already planned to move. So we like started fixing up our house and we listed it and it sold like instantly. And right after it sold, but before we moved, we found out I was pregnant again, actually, which everyone was super excited about.
Yeah.
So that was right before Christmas. We found out we were pregnant, and then we moved here to Tennessee like December 30th or 31st.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So it was kind of crazy. So we kind of filled our time. I mean, we were actively mourning Oakley, but we were so busy at the same time, like doing all the things with the kids that needed to get done because life doesn't stop even for bereaved parents. It just keeps going. So we were doing all the things plus everything with the house and like closing everything out that needed closing out, I guess, in Texas. Found out we were pregnant, moved here, and then like jumped right into fixing this house up and unloading boxes and getting connected and trying to find our place in a new home. And actually, when I was 8 weeks, I had my first appointment, and since I have the transabdominal cerclage, now I'm like treated a lot differently as a patient. So I get seen only by an MFM, not an OBGYN. And I would get seen every 2 weeks. So I went in for my first appointment at 8 weeks, and we got to hear the heartbeat, and it was nothing will ever replace Oakley ever, as you know. No baby can replace a baby. That's not how life works. But it was just such a sweet moment in time. I think just to have some hope again. It was really good for all the kids. They were so excited. They were still missing their baby sister that was supposed to be with us. But it also was just a good time. was a positive time. So at 8 weeks, we got to hear her heartbeat and see her, and she was perfect. She was measuring a little bit small, which the doctor assured me was completely normal. But because of my past history,
Yes.
she was like, why don't you come in? And it was like exactly a week later, maybe 6 days later, and we'll just make sure that everything's progressing how it should. So I would have been about 9.5 weeks at that time. And I came in, and the baby had passed away. There was no heartbeat. So we had another loss. And it was a miscarriage. I was going to wait because I have the TAC. I was a little bit nervous about waiting too long. I'd have to have a C-section past like a certain week. And yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
I'm still actively grieving Oakley, and now also grieving another little one. It's a completely different kind of grief though. And I think a lot of times you hear all about, rainbow babies and you lose a baby, but then you get to bring home the next baby. And that's not always the case. And I hate to be like a Debbie Downer, but at the same time, I know I'm not the only mom. I've talked to so many moms who have lost babies after babies, and it's so sad. It's also a different grief. It's a different kind of grief. And I think that it kind of pulled back the layers of grief that I was probably masking from with Oakley. And so I didn't really begin to like grieve Oakley until after I lost this baby. So I waited a couple weeks because I really wanted my body to it already didn't do what it was supposed to do, but I wanted it to deliver this baby like it was supposed to. And that didn't happen either. So we scheduled another D&C. So we were able to find out that this baby had some abnormalities. So she was and we found out it was a girl, which was so hard after losing a girl. It just feels like a gut punch. But it's a different kind of grief in that this baby wasn't compatible with life. Regardless of when this baby went to heaven, she wasn't going to make it home with us. So whereas Oakley was perfect and she was supposed to come home with us, that was the plan. And I know that was God's plan, but he allowed other things to happen. And we still praise him through that. So a different type of grief, but I think Spencer, it affected both of us differently. He was still able to grieve Oakley, I think, while we were doing all of the things. And he grieves differently than me. We both grieve by like talking about it, constantly talking about Oakley and all our other babies too. But he also talks to Oakley a lot, and he'll have like quiet time and talk to her. And I love that. I love that he gets to have that. And he just, he feels like he couldn't protect his little girl. And so he carries that weight. But I don't know. I can write her letters, and I'll read one later, but I don't talk to her much. I talk to God a lot about her. I don't think my heart is ready to talk to her necessarily. I cry just like thinking about it. So, but I love that he gets to grieve that way. But I think even with the baby that we just lost, we named Everly Elizabeth. And so, I think losing Everly kind of shined a light on some areas that I wasn't processing yet. And for him too, but again, it's just different.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. I just am like,
complicated.
The morning is so complicated because then you're like, what? Yes. And you're right. There's things that will just come out of the woodwork sometimes and just like, wait a second, you're not quite done with it. You're not, you haven't looked at this other thing that's you've been able to sort of put off in the back burner.
Well, and I've talked to some other moms too who have also had miscarriages, and stillbirths or miscarriages. And I haven't talked to any other infant loss moms, but I know that grief is grief and it's all hard. But it was almost refreshing. Definitely isn't the right word, but it was almost refreshing in that these feelings that I'm feeling for the miscarried babies are so different than the feelings that I feel for Oakley, and I'm not alone in that. It is a different type of grief. That doesn't mean that it's not sad and it's not hard, but it's very, very different. And I think just like sharing story, that's why I love this platform that you and Lee have, because to be able to hear other bereaved parents' stories and just to feel like you're not alone it's amazing. And I've met goodness, in the last 10 months, God has placed so many amazing women in my life that I wouldn't have otherwise connected with probably. But I feel like almost everywhere I go, because I'm very vocal. I don't shy away from things that make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oakley has changed me in that regard. I used to be a people pleaser, but now if somebody asks me how many children I have, I say 7, 1 in heaven. And it has opened so many doors to conversation
Yes.
with ladies who then share their stories and who have even told me, like, I've never shared this with anyone else, or, and it's like that, it shouldn't be taboo. It shouldn't be something that people can't talk about because it's uncomfortable or it's like disenfranchised grief. It's just, they're our babies and they matter and they're part of our family. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they're not real.
Yeah.
So
they're part of our family. And yes, it is so important to acknowledge that. That's exactly why we had this platform, because like we don't get a chance to talk about our babies. And so yes, we will be vocal
yes,
about our kids. So
yes,
I appreciate you saying something about how Spencer and you are kind of different in your grief. That he talks to her and like you're not quite there yet. And I do think that it's interesting the differences that you guys the differences are good, like the way we mourn, and it is what it is. And because I feel like my husband felt like he should be busy and doing things and taking care, right? Taking care of protecting and taking care of his family as best as he could. And then, it's hard to, and you guys had plenty to do right afterward. Are there any other things that you noticed that between the two of you that you have grieved differently or grieved together as a couple?
I think it's probably just like the maternal instinct in regards to our living children and helping them navigate grief and sorrow and also joy and all of the emotions, right? I think that there's been times where I can tell like one of my kids is like having a bad day or like going through something, right? But they can't communicate it because they're not mature enough. They don't have the words to communicate it. Like nobody should, right? And so I think that it's been probably easier for me to like recognize that and be like, you know what? We have bad days too. And they still have a lot on their mind. And whereas he'll be more quick to be like, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to? Or why are you acting this way? Or, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I think it's that maternal like instinct of, I can recognize that they're dealing with something heavy right now. But it's been so great for our family just to like learn all these new intricacies about one another that we otherwise wouldn't have. And for him to be able to like soften his heart too and see like, oh, my child's struggling right now. They're just not showing it the same way that I show it. And that's okay.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also both of us together, Spencer and I, we still have, it's like a biological instinct to nurture your child, your baby, even if your baby's not here.
Yep.
Like I was unaware that doesn't go away just because your baby's not in your arms. Like that was completely new to me. So to be able to have that together and like not even have the words for it yet and have to navigate that. And so we've done some stuff. Just the other day we were at the store and Oakley's birthday is 2 months away now. And he saw something. He saw this like little soft doll and he just like grabbed it and he was like, I'm getting her this for her birthday. And it's just like, I don't think people realize that because it's uncomfortable. People don't want to talk about, weird things like that. Right. But you still have this urge to parent your child. Your child's just not here. And so like, how can you navigate the balancing act of being a bereaved parent and also being a parent to living children too, So I think it's been good for all of our kids to witness our grief. Not that we show them all of it in its raw and vulnerable form, but it's helped shape how they see grief and their own empathy that they can offer to others too.
Yeah. I what a great like models that you guys are, because I think in the United States in general are taught not to grieve. Like, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can't be sad. You can't show that kind of emotion. It's negative and everything. And so for them to be able to
can't you just be joyful for what you have?
Exactly. And you're like,
can be, but also
it is okay to mourn. I think that is very appropriate. And they are kids that are acquainted with grief, right? Like they have seen so much heartache, but also so much joy. But they'll be, like you said, they will be able to relate to people differently and be more empathetic, be more understanding of what may be going on in other people's lives, which is cool. which is
Which
really
if
cool.
there can be any blessing out of it, like, I mean, what a blessing to have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me with your kids and actually as a family, how do you guys remember Oakley? How do you guys kind of keep her forefront? It sounds like you talk about her a
Yeah,
lot as a
all the
family, but
time.
tell me other things that you guys do to just make sure she's part of the family.
Yeah. So it started first and foremost the day that she was born. Two different things the day that she was born. When I walked out of the bathroom and back into my hospital room and saw that the nurse had her little footprints on the card,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I was like, I need to see that for the rest of my life, no matter what. I need to have that somewhere. And we are not the typical tattoo people. Like we were not anti-tattoo, but it was never on our
Yeah,
minds
yeah.
like at all until I had a baby who didn't get to come home with us. And I told Spencer, like in the hospital that day, I'm going to get her feet tattooed on me. And he was like, me too. And our children, like nobody's more shocked than our children just
Yeah.
because, again, that just was never on our radar. So it was, oh my goodness, like I had to wait until I finished taking my clotting medicine,
Right.
which was, I think, 6 weeks. So, like, at exactly 6 weeks after she was born, we found this amazing tattoo artist who just, like, we spoke about theology and the sanctity of life during our, like, session. And she was, like, handpicked by God to memorialize our daughter on our
Yeah.
body so we could always see her name and see her little feet. So, that was, like, the
That's
first
cool.
thing in the hospital. And then
Yeah.
also, when I got home that night, I had already had a breast pump because I knew I was an oversupplier with my living daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I donated to the NICU and stuff. And it's just something that's always been on my heart. So I already had a breast pump. So I came home and started pumping. And my children remember me pumping with their living sister. But, they were kind of like,
Yeah.
like, what baby are you going to feed? And so we got to talk about that. Like, this is the worst case scenario. This is awful. This is no fun at all. And yet, how can we bless others through this, right? And so for us, I know not every mom has the same desire, but for us, like Spencer supporting me through continuing pumping and donating has been such a blessing. And like the children have got to come alongside for that too.
Yeah.
Because every 3 hours, mommy has to pump. And I mentioned that her her fancy diaper bag came in the day that I went into labor. And so when I got home from the hospital, I like opened up the box and looked at it. And, it was really, really hard because everything that we bought for her, she didn't get to have anymore. But I ended up using her diaper bag as like my pump supply bag. And so we would call it like Oakley's bag, so if I needed a pump and I was like helping somebody with lessons or doing something, I could tell any of my kids, like, can you go get Oakley's bag? And like, they knew what that would mean. And I already had a nursing cover for her. So I just used her nursing cover when I was pumping, So just little things like that from day one. She was going to live on in that. And anytime I gave milk to a whole lot of moms in need who weren't able to produce, but I also was a registered donor with North Texas Milk Bank.
Yeah.
And so anytime I sent milk to anybody for the first time, I included a note about Oakley and how this milk belonged to her, that she wasn't here to have it. And just like included a little note, and a little prayer for whatever baby that was going to be blessed by it. And they saw me doing that and they helped write some of the notes. And, they would help me package up the milk when the milk bank would send boxes with ice packs. And so they would help me do that. And actually, just to encourage any other bereaved mom who might be thinking about that, it's something that I want to like start in the future when my heart's a little ready. I'd love to start like some sort of foundation or organization in Oakley's name just to support bereaved donors, because there really is not a lot of support for it.
No.
When I was pumping and donating for my living daughter, there wasn't a lot of support behind that either. But there definitely isn't for bereaved moms. And I, on one of our road trips, because we lived in Austin and I was donating to the North Texas Milk Bank. So we had a road trip. I'm trying to think. I think it's when we were going house hunting to Tennessee and we stopped by North Texas and we stopped by the milk bank was receiving my milk and then sending it to the same NICUs that my sons had been in because they were born in Texas when we lived in North Texas. So it was just like a full circle moment for the boys and for me and for my daughter and my husband. So we got to go, and it was actually it was an amazing experience to see like the production of it and what they do. For bereaved moms, they have like it's a different intake process. So you still have to go through, there's like a medical exam and some blood work, and they handle all of it for bereaved moms. Like they told me on the phone from day one, like they will make this as easy as possible for me for an incredibly hard situation. And they were just so appreciative. And it was the first person that I talked to was like the nurse on the phone for the intake, like a questionnaire intake.
Yeah.
She was the first person to like ask me about Oakley. Like,
oh, really?
which, yes, like she wanted to know about my baby. And that really meant a lot. So I encourage anyone who might have that placed on their heart, like it was a way for me to keep a part of her with me for as long as I could. And then I ended up stopping pumping after I had the tack placed.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to do it as long as I wanted to, but it was still several months of being able to like use the milk that was for her to bless other babies. So, and they have like a bereaved parents hall where they have, I'm sure you've seen it, like the little leaves where they put your baby's name on, and you get to put it on the tree in the milk bank. And then they gave one to us too. So we have it on our shelf.
That is so beautiful.
So that was like the first things that we did, just to keep her memory alive. And when we decided she was going to be our little bunny rabbit, because she was going to be our nice, calm, and polite daughter. I'm not saying anything at all about my living daughter, but she was going to be our bunny rabbit. And she is our bunny rabbit. So we had gotten her like all these bunny stuffies, and I got her this bunny stuffed animal. It's a thumper, but it's like super soft, and it's just wonderful. And so when we went to see her at the funeral home, I like took her picture with it, and it just like wrapped it around her so that when I hug it, I can remember her. And when we got home and we showed the boys those pictures, and my daughter, my 4 youngest living children all wanted that stuffy too. Like they wanted to have like a part of Oakley, so they all have like their Oakley stuffy, and my youngest too, like carry it around everywhere and love it. And I think that's doing things like that to where she can still be like an active part of our life. Like with my living daughter, we still get like sister things, like a big sister t-shirt, and like a matching something for baby, and we add it to her shelf. And it's just, that can be weird if you make it weird, but it's just like a natural part of their life. Like she's a member of our family. Why wouldn't we treat her that way? Like it stinks that she's not here.
Yeah.
And yet, so we like vowed from the day she was born that like she wouldn't be forgotten, and it would never be something that's like odd or, like it's not something to be embarrassed about. It's something to celebrate. So for her first Christmas, I had already ordered her a stocking. So her stocking still gets hung up, and like, I didn't put anything in it this year. That doesn't mean that in the future that like, again, you have this biological need to nurture and parent a child. So who knows, but we decided that we would take all the kids to the store, and we know that Oakley was going to be spoiled rotten, like the first baby after 5 losses, no matter what. She's going to be spoiled rotten. So we took them to Target, and we said they could pick out whatever they would get if Oakley was at home with us, and this would be her first Christmas. So they filled a shopping cart, and we found an angel from like an angel tree who was going to be her same age had she been here at Christmas. And we like gave all those gifts to that little baby. And that's something that we're going to do every year, because we still get to like things in the store, and years from now be like, what would my 5 or 10-year-old want, and then donate it in her name. And that's just something that they'll remember their little sister always, because she's still very much a part of us.
That is so cool. Like, once again, some awesome modeling, because like, just so giving, and then also a way to shout out their little sister. I think that's rad.
But just like other little traditions and things for whether it's a holiday or whatever it is. For I'm looking at them right now because they're all still up from Valentine's Day. I write hearts for my kids. Like I started that so many years ago, just like little love notes, or some of them are funny and whatever because they're boys. So, they like humor. So, and this Valentine's Day, I was like, I can't imagine not putting hearts up for Oakley. Like I just can't. So I wrote little letters to her, like just little love notes on those too. So they see those, and then we leave them up. Apparently we leave them up for months because they're still over there. So.
Which is so fun though.
So they get to like see her love notes too, and like Spencer wrote her some as well. So they get to, it's just like another way to like show them grief. Like grief is hard and grief is heavy, but grief doesn't have to mean there's no joy and there's no love and, celebrating too. So all of those things. Some other things. Oh, this one's maybe a little silly, but we have always done like little book clubs for the kids. Like there's like things you can sign up for and they send you free books each month. So we signed up for Oakley and we get a book each month. And if I think it's good for them to like see her name on a piece of mail come through, and it's like soothing to my heart as well. And then if we choose to add it to her memory shelf, we can, or we can go put it in a free little library and somebody else can be blessed by her. But just little things like that is how we're hoping to just keep her like an integral part of our family where our children can remember her. And
that is so cool. I mean, and your kids are just, obviously she's here. I mean, like this is who she's part of the family too. Yeah. So I think that is so neat.
Yeah.
As you have kind of navigated this, I'm actually curious were there any things that people did or said that really stood out to you that helps you kind of process your grief in this 10 months? And I know that you mentioned that your best friend had done a Costco like drop off at one point in time, and the kids are like, are these okay to eat?
Where did this food come from?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is brilliant, by the way. Yeah, like a grocery drop off is fantastic. It's just because grocery shopping feels so
daunting
and just like, do I have to do this? My baby just died. It feels that way, right? Yes,
now?
It doesn't make any sense. And so what are some things that people did that were kind of a standout to you that you would say, give this a try if somebody is going through this that may need some help? So
yes, we had some friends who brought meals right after she was born, and that was helpful. And then we had some neighbors who just like completely stepped up and surrounded us and also brought food and, little cards. That's just, it's really helpful, which is nice, but it's just a great way to show God's love. Like just be in the hands and feet of Jesus. Just because you can't process like how you're going to do the really hard and heavy things, like walk away from your baby and, leave the hospital without them. And you shouldn't also have to process like, what will I feed my children tonight? Like your brain, it's almost too much, So those things like that were really helpful. We also, like I mentioned, we have some friends who we can just share anything with. And I have a friend who knows my heart 100%. And I think just being a listener for somebody, asking about their baby, asking not like what you can do, but just like doing something, and then also asking about their baby. I have a friend who always is quick to encourage me. Like I can come at her with just like righteous anger, and she's like right there to send me scripture and be like,
fantastic.
Okay, remember. And I love that. And I need that. And also I have another friend who I can share like what's really on my heart, and there's no judgment at all. And she can be like, I feel that same way, because she's experienced it. And I think that that's why God puts certain people in our life when he does, especially if they otherwise wouldn't be in our life, right? Like to be able to resonate with how somebody else feels and to maybe offer them hope or encouragement, or maybe just listen and let them get out what they need to process. Because I think a lot of times, especially for maybe families who have living children too, everything can look like joy and, just perfect, like they're living the dream, right? But that doesn't mean that there's not also grief in motherhood and fatherhood, and that families can really be struggling with something behind the scenes. And I think that I think it's just important to remember that loss is loss, and it hurts and it's devastating, no matter if it's your first loss or your 15th loss, or it still hurts. And it's still something that you can't just like fast track through grief. You have to process it, and it could take a lifetime. And I think that you can still be like a hope and encouragement. And if you don't have, like, if you're going through something similar and you don't have that support system, or you don't have somebody that you can reach out to. Even if you just are that person to somebody else, if you start sharing your story, I promise you, people will flock to you and also have their stories, similar stories to share. And if you can be that hope and that listening ear to somebody, then you'll be blessed by it 100%. Because I've just encountered so many people, and even Spencer too. I think it's been really interesting to see when we're together and like meeting a new couple. Just the other day we met a new couple at the playground, and infant death came up. Of course, because why wouldn't it?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And just to hear the two husbands get kind of like sorrowful and talk about like this father talk about their miscarriages, and Spencer be able to talk about Oakley and our miscarriages, and it's just it's something that's so beautiful in such ugly circumstances. It's just beauty from ashes. So yeah,
that's beautiful. I watch my husband too as he interacts with other dads, and he is the person that people can rely on to just listen, because they know that he's walked a path that is like I said, full of ashes, and they are able to be somebody for somebody else. I think that is really cool to have that. And then I kind of on the other side, are there things that maybe you would recommend not saying or not doing that is hard for a lost parent to hear, or anything that you would maybe recommend to stay away from?
Yeah, I think the like disenfranchised grief, like just when things are uncomfortable, or maybe you don't want to make them sad, or you don't want to bring up things that could cause sorrow, or maybe you don't see the sorrow because all you see is like the highlight reel, or like, don't ignore it, don't pretend like it didn't happen, but acknowledge that bereaved parents are in pain. Like, we might still be living our life because what choice do we have? But that doesn't mean that we don't want you to acknowledge that there's hurt and sorrow too. I think for both of us, like, there were certain people that we thought we'd hear from and we just didn't. And that's okay. It's okay that people come and go from your life. But I think it was definitely like pretty shocking. And just don't do that. Don't think that you're gonna don't think that it doesn't matter, or don't think that you're gonna cause like harm. It's really, really simple to just send a text or whatever and just let them know that you're thinking of them. I think that's probably the most hurtful thing that we've experienced. And then, like, I don't know, seems silly, but we talk a lot about dark humor. We didn't used to like have dark humor until our baby died. And now we have all the dark humor.
Oh yeah.
And, like, it's a coping mechanism 100%.
It totally is.
But I think having some dark humor sometimes is okay. And, we can wash our hands of people and be like, well, good riddance. Our baby died and you weren't there. So bye. Dark humor is important in any marriage for sure. Especially when you have a dead baby.
Yeah.
And things like, even like medical professionals, if any medical professionals happen upon this podcast, I know I'm not alone in this. It is so hard to share your story over and over in like a clinical setting where like feelings are removed, and you go in to an appointment and like they should absolutely have a little foreknowledge of why you're there, and not greet you with like a giant smile and be like, why are we seeing you today? And you're like, well, my baby died.
Yeah. So yes. That is so frustrating to me. Like, it is, because
why can't that be a thing? Why can't there be a little note on your chart?
A little star of something? I don't know.
Mom's Club, handle with care. Like,
exactly.
Don't ask her how she is. That's the dumbest question that we're like, my baby died a week ago.
Yeah, really so not great. Okay. Not great.
I've been better. So just, maybe no dumb questions, just like overall.
Yeah.
But with the dark humor too, we got, there was an organization that me and my kids served with weekly, which was so wonderful. And when Oakley was born and I had to tell the director, like, we have to take a little break. She had these beautiful flowers delivered with a grocery gift card. So super helpful. Spencer's work had beautiful flowers delivered. We had several like bouquets delivered. They were so beautiful. And also we hated them because they represented our dead baby. Like, dead baby flowers, I don't know. Some people might really like them. I didn't like them. I wanted them out of my house. They were just going to die. Like the flowers that represented my dead baby were going to die. Like, so I think it's probably dependent on each mom really, but
That is hard. Yes, I agree. Yeah, you're like, it's not great. It's hard.
Yeah.
But oh man, those are some good things. That's those are those are hard. Yes, if any medical professionals are listening to this, I do want to say, as a medical professional myself, I
Yeah.
do feel like this is something that we could just do a little bit better about. And I had a pediatrician after we were doing a checkup with our daughter after we had lost our son. She
Mhm.
was she is the best pediatrician because she sat and more she cried with us and
Oh,
that's all it, I mean, she didn't know what happened to us, but she
yeah.
was when she heard, she cried with us, and that is, it
Yeah.
just doesn't take much to just be with your patients sometimes, and that makes the biggest difference. So I
It really does.
feel like you talked about all those nurses that just were
Yeah.
with you and were angels, and they just talked and acknowledged Oakley and said her name. I mean, those things just make a huge difference. It's
Yeah.
the medical professionals that kind of brush over it, and they're like, okay, let's deal with the problem now.
You're just like a number. You're just like a patient. That's all.
No,
Like,
yeah, and
that's hard.
yeah, it's a little bit of compassion, a little bit of humanness,
Yes,
in a patient room is it goes a long, long way, a long way.
it really
So,
does.
yeah,
Spencer and I talk a lot about Ecclesiastes, the vapor, everything is vapor.
yeah,
Just everything's kind of meaningless after you lose a baby. And that sounds weird, but like
it,
a lot of hard things have happened since Oakley, I
yeah,
mean, moving to a new state and having like issues with houses and cars and just whatever. Life goes on and life can still be hard in a different way, but hard things still happen. And just like for us to like look at one another and just be like, vapor, everything is vapor. Like it doesn't matter. Hard
yeah,
things are going to happen. The worst of the worst already happened. So
yeah.
like, it can't get any
It
worse.
can't get any
Like,
worse. We've been there. We've been there.
yep.
We're crawling out of it. So,
Keep some humor too.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
helpful.
yeah. Kelly, I was wondering if you, as in closing, I was wondering if you, well, if we forgot anything or if we missed anything that you wanted to share, but was wondering if you would be willing to share that letter that you wrote to Oakley
Yes.
with us, because I know that you're not at a place to regularly talk to her yet, but
I can write to her, but I definitely can't like
just
talk
openly,
to her.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Would
no.
you be willing to close that with out with us on that letter?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yes.
Okay. I wrote this after a month, after she'd been gone a month. So it's been over a month without our precious Oakley, and we have experienced the dreaded bereaved parent turmoil during this time. We will long for her always and remember her forever. A month of wondering where God is in the midst of all the chaos and confusion, yet knowing He's guiding us through the darkest valley. A month of feeling so raw yet so numb in the same instant. A month of walking around with our hearts shattered and wondering what God could possibly do to redeem this mess for His glory. A month of knowing we sought Him and He didn't answer us, because sometimes babies die no matter how much you love them. We have replayed the worst night over and over again, contemplating what we could have done differently and going over all of the what ifs. The questions and unanswered prayers will shake you to your core. A month of being so appreciative for everyone who's reached out, offered prayers, said our baby's name, and has truly been there for us in a tangible way, while also wondering why certain people haven't offered their condolences and instead choose to partake in disenfranchised grief. Just because something's uncomfortable, taboo, or full of sadness doesn't mean you should pretend like it didn't happen. A month of sharing my heart with a few ladies who truly understand every aspect of what I'm going through and are always there to hear my frustrations, my anxieties, or encourage me when I'm utterly broken. A month of being terrified of the doubting we feel deep in our hearts while also knowing God is good and His plans are better. A month of knowing theologically what is true while also longing so badly for a version of heaven where babies experience but a blink so they can wait for their mamas to arrive one day. I know the second Oakley met Jesus face to face, she was completely and utterly satisfied, and that breaks my heart to not be needed as her mama. A month of wrestling with the fact that our baby more than likely suffered. Until you've watched your child take their last breath as you hand them over to the Lord, you can't understand the magnitude of this realization. It's easy to know God loves your baby more than you possibly could, but it's excruciating to live that cliche out loud. A month of contemplating all the things that we will never get to see or do. Her first little piggy tails, learning to walk, saying mama and daddy, holding her siblings' hands, growing up, getting married, and becoming a mama herself. There's a million and one things we had already planned for her because we expected her to stay. We are so grateful for the kiddos we have who ignite the joy back into our days, bring smiles to our faces, and fill the emptiness of our souls with hope. My heart breaks for those who have lost a baby and don't also know the wonder of being a mommy to living children. Despite it all, we choose to praise the God who gives and takes away. And even though our hearts are torn, we will praise him in this storm.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Kelly, thank you again for your advice, for your experience, for sharing what has helped and what hasn't. And thank you especially for sharing about Oakley and her wonderful short little life, but impactful life also.
Yeah.
So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Completely so happy to have you on today. Thank you again.